Hello and welcome to the Technical University of Munich's MOOC on academic writing. My name is Stephen Stark, and today's topic is a continuation of the idea of credibility. We're going to examine plagiarism, what it is and why you want to avoid it. Plagiarism is certainly not the most pleasant topic, but it is something that must be discussed when the topic is academic writing. We're going to start off by examining several scenarios to see if they are plagiarism, and after that, look a little closer at just what plagiarism is, and then conclude by comparing plagiarism with proper citation. Once you've decided whether or not each instance is an example of plagiarism, move on to the next slide. Take your time. The task is not so easy. Actually, each of these items constitutes plagiarism. You might say, "Hey, I just forgot." But that excuse won't work. Forgetting to breathe is deadly. Forgetting to make clear what is your contribution and what is the contribution of others is also deadly. Additionally, using synonyms for a couple words is not enough for a paraphrase. You need to change the sentence structure as well. And when paraphrasing, you still have to cite the original source. The same is true for summarizing. And cutting and pasting is clearly theft and does not require further discussion. The last point, however, is probably not so clear. When doing research, it is always helpful to discuss your work. However, if it is absolutely clear that you are using someone else's idea, then you should give that person the credit. Citation guides will help you to properly cite a conversation or an email, for example. You don't want to get paranoid and think, "I can't talk to anyone now." But you must be aware of the contributions of others and give them credit where credit is due. Now we come to just what plagiarism is. You must put quotation marks around the words of others. You must cite the source completely using a recognized citation style. If you cite your source but fail to include the source in your bibliography, that is also plagiarism, because the bibliography should have the complete citation information, which will not be in your in-text citation. For example, look at our citation on the bottom right. You know only the author's last name is Bailey and the page number the information is taken from, but not the author's first name, nor the title of the work, nor where and when it was published. Finally, if you do not change the words and the sentence structure enough, that will also be considered plagiarism. You might be thinking, though, come on, what's so bad about plagiarism? It's just words. Well, no, unfortunately, it is much more than that. It is years of education and work conducting research. All researchers build upon the works of others, and you are no different, so you need to cite your sources. Additionally, a text should not be a collection of quotes glued together with "he writes," "she argues," "they report." Your text should include you, which is why paraphrasing and summarizing with proper citations are so important. Moreover, you can only do this well once you have understood the material, which of course is a challenge, but then impresses your professor when you do. In the end, though, plagiarism is stealing. You don't have the right to create a story about a young magician named Mary Stoddard who goes to a school for magic, not after J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series. And you cannot steal the ideas of researchers either. In the end, it really is that black and white. Read through the two texts here. The first is the source of the second. Why is the second text plagiarism? Pause the video, and when you think you have the answer, move on to the next slide. It might not have been the first thing you noticed, but the plagiarized text does not contain a citation. Secondly, too much of the text is quoted word for word without any quotation marks, and the structure of the original is still there in the plagiarized version. Finally, too many words in the original have merely been replaced by synonyms. Coming up with synonyms is the first step in a paraphrase, not the last. The sentence structure itself has to be altered in a paraphrase. Changing the sentence structure is sometimes hard work, no doubt, but it has to be done. Again, read through these two short texts. The first one, again, is the source of the second. Why is the second text plagiarism? Pause the video, and when you think you have the answer, move on to the next slide. Even though this text has a citation, it lacks quotation marks. Much of the original text has also been copied and pasted, but no clue is given as to which phrases belong to the original source and which to the new version. Technical vocabulary is everybody's, but here we see not just words, but phrases taken in their entirety. You just can't do that, not without quotation marks. So, if you use the words of others without giving them credit, you are stealing and will not be considered trustworthy. If you steal the ideas of others, why should anyone believe your test results are real, or are even yours? Moreover, for junior researchers, it is important to demonstrate that you know the important researchers in your field, and you show that you have understood them well enough when you can summarize and paraphrase them. Make sure you cite sources and put quotation marks around the phrases that you borrow from others. You are extending the ideas of others, and you want everyone to know whose ideas you are extending. Furthermore, you all want to be producers of innovations, and you don't want other people stealing your ideas either, do you? So, best of luck in future writing tasks, and remember to put quotation marks around the words of others and a citation at the end. Off you go now.